Have you ever been there? You're just having a nice, quiet moment with your cat, everything seems perfect, purrs and all, and then bam, out of absolutely nowhere, it's teeth and claws. It's so confusing and honestly a little upsetting. It leaves you wondering, what on earth did I do wrong? Well, let's get into it. This is it. This is the big question, right? It's the one that has so many of us worried that we have a mean cat or a bad cat. But what if I told you that these sudden attacks are almost never about being mean? You know, the single most important thing to wrap your head around is this, that aggression isn't some kind of personality flaw. It's communication. It's your cat trying to send you a really important message. They're trying to tell you that they're scared, or maybe overstimulated, or even just plain frustrated. So our job isn't to punish the behavior, it's to figure out the message behind it. Okay, before we dive into any of these specific how-tos, there is one foundational rule that applies to every single type of cat aggression, and getting this right is absolutely the most critical first step. This is the golden rule, and it is totally non-negotiable. Physically punishing your cat, and I mean even a little tap on the nose, it doesn't teach them that what they did was wrong. All it teaches them is to be afraid of you. And that fear, that anxiety, it almost always makes the aggression worse, not better. So the main takeaway here is we have to build trust, not fear. All right, so with that foundation of trust firmly in place, let's put on our detective hats. Because to solve this problem, we first need to figure out what kind of aggression we're even looking at. It's time to learn your cat's very specific language. So the two most common types that cat owners have to deal with are play aggression and petting-induced aggression. Play aggression, well, that's that classic ankle attack. It's not a real attack. It's your cat's inner hunter just overflowing because it doesn't have anywhere else to go. Then you have petting-induced aggression. That's that super confusing moment when a lovely petting session suddenly turns painful, all because the cat just got way too overstimulated. So how do you handle a tiny predator who's stalking your feet? Well, you give them something better to hunt. The real key here is anticipation. The moment you see them get into that little crouch, ready to pounce, just toss a toy. A wand toy, a crumpled up piece of paper, really anything that moves. When you do this, you're satisfying their instinct in a way that's actually fun for them and, totally painless for you. Now, for that petting-induced aggression, the best way to think about it is like being tickled, It's fun for a second, but then it gets overwhelming really, really fast. And these pictures, they show that exact moment. A cat loving a belly rub 1 second and then lashing out the next. They've hit their limit. But here is the good news. Cats almost always give you clear warning signs before they bite. You just have to learn how to read the signs. Is their tail starting to thump or thrash around? Is the skin on their back kind of rippling? Are their pupils suddenly huge? Did the purring just stop? All of these are your cat's way of saying, okay, I'm done, please stop now. If you can respect that message, you can avoid the bite completely. And here's a little pro tip for more successful bite-free petting sessions. Try to focus on the areas where their facial scent glands are. Their cheeks, their chin, right behind the ears. When cats rub these spots on things, they're actually marking them as safe and familiar. So sticking to these areas is a much safer bet than, say, going right for the belly or the tail. Two other quick types just to be aware of are redirected and fear aggression. Redirected is when your cat gets all worked up by something it can't get to, like seeing another cat outside the window. And then it just lashes out at the closest target, which, surprise, is often you. And fear aggression is just what it sounds like, a defensive reaction to something that scares them. For both of these, the solution is really about managing their environment and just giving them some space to chill out. Okay, so we've talked a lot about how to react to aggression. But honestly, the real game changer is being proactive. The ultimate fix for most of these aggression issues is tackling the root cause, which is usually boredom and unfulfilled instincts. It really is all about what we call environmental enrichment. Now, this is really interesting. Take a look at what a cat's day is supposed to look like in the wild. Wild cats spend about 3.5 hours a day hunting. Your indoor cat, the one sleeping on the sofa, has that exact same instinctual drive, but usually zero outlet for it. All that pent-up energy, it has to go somewhere, and a lot of times it comes out as behavioral problems. And enrichment does not have to be expensive. I mean it, we're talking cardboard boxes, crumpled up pieces of paper, hiding a few treats for them to find. The goal here is simple, just make their world a little more interesting. Give them problems to solve and things to hunt. Okay, so let's build on that idea of enrichment by focusing on one of the most powerful tools we have, something we do every single day. Let's talk about feeding time. Get this. In the wild, a cat hunts and eats around 12 small meals a day. 12. Their entire biology is built around this cycle of searching, pouncing, killing, and eating. And what do? We jump a huge pile of food in a bowl once or twice a day. We've basically taken away the most important job they have. And this is where food puzzles are a total game changer. Instead of just giving them their food, we make them work for it. It engages their brain, it satisfies that deep-seated foraging instinct, and it helps burn off all that excess energy. It turns mealtime from a boring 2-minute event into a really stimulating and satisfying activity. So let's bring it all back home by circling right back to our golden rule. The solution to aggression is never, ever correction or punishment. It's about understanding what your cat needs and then creating a world where those needs are met. And this approach, it doesn't just solve the problem. It actually builds a much deeper, more trusting bond between you and your cat. So the next time your cat lashes out, instead of getting upset, I want you to just pause and ask yourself this one question. What are they trying to communicate? Because when you can shift your perspective from just being a cat owner to being more of a cat interpreter, well, that's when everything changes.